What is up, team, and welcome back to Blomonomics. This is the channel where we take short-term swing trades, stack profits, and inject those into long-term assets. So tonight's video is a big one. We have Jerome Powell potentially ending quantitative tightening tomorrow. We've got one of the strongest market reversals we saw here at the tail end of November. Silver is going parabolic right now, and in the next few days, the market could determine whether we break into new all-time highs or we get slapped with a bit of a pullback. So I'm going to break it all down for you, what I'm seeing, what news to watch out for this week, how I'm going to be trading into the market in both the short term and sort of the medium long term here. So let's jump straight into it. Powell could end QT tomorrow. This is huge. Tomorrow, Jerome Powell is speaking, and the big rumor circulating is that, through institutions, that he might end or slow QT. So let's break this down quickly. Like, what is QT? Quantitative tightening is when the Fed shrinks its balance sheet, okay? So by letting bonds and mortgage-backed securities expire without replacing them. In layman's terms, it removes liquidity from the market. The market gets tighter. Borrowing costs rise, so credit slows, and risk assets struggle. So it's literally the opposite of QE, which pumps liquidity into the system. So why stop QT now? Because the market is already tightening itself. So treasury yields have been wildly volatile. Liquidity is dropping fast. Banks have slowed down their lending. Inflation has come under expected rises or is cooling a little bit. So Powell doesn't necessarily want to or need to over tighten and break the credit system. So if QT ends tomorrow, here's what typically happens. Liquidity boosts. So that's bullish for stocks. There's lower yield, which is bullish for tech and growth, and the USD would weaken, which is typically bullish for gold, silver, and some risk on assets like Bitcoin. So the risk appetite increases. So ending QT could remove a major headwind, and this is typically where we see the market like laser focused on breaking all-time highs and new all-time highs and stuff like that. So the key stats or the key news that you need to understand heading into tomorrow is that the S&P 500, which is the chart we're looking at right now, is inches away from all-time highs. It's, I think, 0.9% away from hitting all-time highs. November was quite bearish. We actually had 4 red weeks in a row. But then last week, since I think November 21st, that market flipped. We're up 5%. And every single day last week in the Thanksgiving week was in the green. So that was quite a historic turnaround. One of the largest monthly reversals in U.S. market history, I believe. So what we need to be focused on this month is December is usually or normally extremely bullish. So it is green 73% of the time. One of the best months to invest in other than July, which I think beats it in average return. So the second best month to invest in. But historically, after a green Thanksgiving week where every single day that trades in that Thanksgiving week is green, we have seen 8 out of 8 Mondays be in the red. The next week, so after the week after Thanksgiving, so this week that we're rolling into right now, has only 42% of the time been in the green after seeing all days last week in the green. So it is likely that we might actually have a bit of a pullback this week, and we might not even end the week as high as we ended this last Friday. I would not panic, and I'll tell you why later in the video here. Another thing we're looking at is we have silver. Silver is just going parabolic right now. It is one of the stars of the year. It's up 90% in 2025. It's breaking new all-time highs. It's trading above $56. It's at $57.15 right now. And so this is driven by, deficit spending fears. That's when precious metals typically do better. The Fed easing into 3% inflation, which is typically, higher inflation, better for metals. Institutions hedging with metals. So, a lot of the big central banks are buying metals or gold specifically, which we can chat about right now. Gold has also seen a massive, massive rally this year. I believe it's a little less than silver, maybe in the high 60%. There's big inflows right now into GLD and futures. So if QT does end, gold could realistically enter and continue on a multi-month breakout here. So I've held gold for a long time. I'm going to continue holding my gold. I don't think right now for me is the time to sell. So what happens tomorrow? So the 24 to 72 hour outlook here is I believe that we could have a bit of a pullback. tomorrow could be quite red. This whole next week could be a little red. I think seasonality is then going to take over later in December. We have Powell, which could end QT tomorrow, which regardless of whether the market's red this week would be bullish into the short medium term. Okay, so slowing or ending QT would trigger that. We have Trump now says that he has finalized Powell's successor. So Trump has really been wanting to lower interest rates, which is very bullish for risk on assets. And so he's now saying he's decided who the next Fed chair will be, and he'll likely announce that in December as well. So if he does announce a Fed chair that has been vocally quite dovish and wanting to lower rates, that could be another big tailwind into a rising market here. If these things do fall into place, tech, crypto are going to be strong. All the tech earnings were already really strong, so that was quite bullish for the market. Metals could continue upward momentum, and so on. So where my head is at going into this market is, I know there's lots of speculation, and I'm truly quite bearish in this market. I think we're playing chicken with a market that could take a significant pullback at any time, and probably triggered by some black swan event that we can't even predict right now. But I wouldn't panic about that just yet. Of course, there's always that risk, and I'm not a financial advisor. This is not financial advice. This is for entertainment purposes only. But I believe truly that we're going to see probably a red week here for the next couple days, and then we could break all-time highs, especially if QT does slow or end, when Trump announces whether or who the next Fed chair is going to be, and if that person is quite dovish, that could be very bullish for the market. December 10th is the Fed announcement on whether they're lowering interest rates, which right now those are priced in at, there's a probability of an 87% chance that they believe that, or the market believes that those rates will be lowered. So there's a lot of really big tailwinds riding in the next couple weeks here, and December is typically quite bullish. So if we do see a pullback, I would not panic. How I'm going to trade into this market, if you watched my last video, or if you haven't, go watch it right now. Bitcoin has just entered my golden ratio for the swing trade that I talked through. I talked through it in detail on my last video. So go check it out. You can set up all these indicators. You will see exactly what I'm seeing. Bitcoin has hit the buy zone. Bitcoin has hit my buy zone. We could see a bit more of a pullback here in the coming days. I already own Bitcoin. I already own a lot of strategy. So tomorrow what I'm probably going to do is put a small portion of my money into a leveraged Bitcoin ETF. Not a big percent of my portfolio, but I'm truly going to try to bring it and ride it up to this exhaustion point, the 2.1618 or the 2.618 here, which would be, you know, my profit and loss risk reward ratio is about 5-to-1 here. So I'm going to set a stop loss below this candle. Again, watch my last video, and I'll take profits up here on the 2.618. So Bitcoin, I think, could be quite bullish here. I think all risk on assets, if you see big pullbacks in stocks you've been watching or liking, it could be a good time to buy, as we might enter like a multi-month rally here. Stocks I've been watching and heavily invested in, Duolingo in our public account. We'll get back into that public account this week. I'll show you where we're at. PayPal, Celsius. Netflix just did a stock split. It's sitting below its 200-day moving average right here. I haven't bought into it just yet, but I think there could be a point to buy into Netflix here in the near future, and I'll keep you posted on what I'm seeing with that stock. But Duolingo, PayPal, Celsius, Bitcoin, gold for the long term. Silver scares me a little bit. It's up so high so fast, but could continue to go up. Who am I to say it's not? But as silver continues to just pile drive higher and higher, I'm going to start building a short position on it for if it does ever pull back and have a bit of a crash here. So that's what I'm seeing this week. Stay focused. We're going to do a video probably tomorrow night or Tuesday after the Fed chair announcement. We'll touch base on whether or not Donald Trump, and as the news rolls out, when Donald Trump might announce the new Fed chair or who his nominee is, as well as we're going to keep a pulse on the market this week. I'm expecting a bit of a pullback. I'm not going to panic. I'm going to buy into this pullback. That is what I'm doing. Again, not financial advice. So thank you, everyone. Have a great week trading here, and we'll keep in touch over the next few episodes. Cheers.